Hello everyone, welcome to my review of the Wonder Egg Party. Wonder Egg Party was made by Studio Cloverworks, who also was the studio that made My Dress Up Darling and the Rascal Doesn't Dream Of series. Wonder Egg Party was the brainchild of Shuji Nojimura, what I can find on Shinji. This was the first anime he has made. Now, Wonder Egg Party has 12 episodes and one special. I'll be covering all of it in this review. We will get to more of that later, but for now, there's that though. Now, let's go over the voice actors before we go into our review, as I like to do, and I will name any other word I know the voice actor from. So starting off with Oda is voiced by Kena Akihara. Rika Karai is voiced by Shuka Seo. Moi is voiced by Haki Yano. And lastly, Neo Omar is voiced by Tomoe Shakono, who also voiced Makina and Chainsaw Man, Woman from Yu-Gi-Oh! 7s, and River from Yu-Gi-Oh! Go Watch. Now, I would like to say before I even start episode 1, I had no idea what the show is about at all. I'm just like, oh, I remember this being a thing. Let me do this for a review. Click. Now, I mean, I don't really like to know everything about the show before I start watching it, but I was not expecting the show to have such heavy subjects like suicide. And it caught me so off guard, and wasn't even funny, especially later, when it just gets heavier and heavier and heavier in terms of themes. And even themes, but like, I know, I feel like Leo kind of just tried to like push the envelope. It's like, oh, how dark we can get a bit without any meaning. Again, we will get to that when we get to that, but now I'm not trying to get too ahead of myself. Starting off with episode 1. I is taking care of a dead firefly and gets to the barrel. The dead firefly is talking to I and brings her to a place where she can get an egg that has what she wants most, a friend. It seems like it was a dream, but it wasn't, because she has the egg with her. I is wondering what she does with the egg. I doesn't go to school, instead she gets her work at home. I gets teleported to school after wanting to go back to the place where she found the egg. We learned that I was bullied at school. And you know, when the toilet paper is talking to you, who has the same voice as Firefly, you listen to it and break the egg. And that egg hatches a go, and the hatch go and are being attacked by what are known as the Xeno Evils, which reminds me of the like Tiki Monsters from like one Scooby-Doo movie, when the gang goes to Hawaii and it's like the cursed Tiki Sofa, and like he has like his little minions of little Tiki robot things. And it reminds me of those, with like the little Max and have her hop around and stuff. I lost her liver. It happens. The two girls are hanging in a classroom. I is healed, because she cannot die in this world. Until I visits a dream, but the hatch girl visits real, so the hatch girl can die. I would be fine as long as her eyes and hearts are unharmed. If they need to live until the bell rings. The girls are talking about how they have no friends. The Seymour emos are back, and the hatch girl leaves them away as I cannot move. I is reminded of a girl that jumped named Kyoto. Kyoto tries to befriend I, but it's like flashback time. They trying to push her away. But Kyo chose to care about I, like bringing her stuff that she forgot at school, like her school bag and stuff like that. And I got bullied for her different color eyes. I blames herself for Kyoko jumping. I want to say Kyoko from like Dango, but it's not Kyoko. Is Kyoto jumping, I say for Hashko because the pen is my episode. Or I guess in this case, the knife. The Hashko just goes poof. I need to protect more of these hatch goes to be able to bring Kito back to life. I takes damage that she took in the Dreamland when she comes back to the real world. And she also has a milk of a mother, so, happy Mother's Day, that's what we're calling it. So, I guess perfect, not perfect, in between. I don't know. I want some more eggs so she can bring Kito back. The Firefly is a doll named Aka, and there's also Uaka. And there's other kids that get eggs too. This is a good first episode. Keeps you engaged. There's a nice hook to get you engaged 100%. It definitely caught my attention. It was like, I want to know more. And which is for part of the first episode. So, the first episode does the job, which is very important. That's above anything else in the first episode. I think is a good main character, so also points for that. So, episode 2, I meet another girl, but she doesn't talk until the girl asks who you're fighting from. I explain the situation. The girl asks it's like, are you sure that you're not just fighting for yourself to change yourself? The girl is fighting for her sister. I's mom and teacher tried to find out what happened to her, but it seems like I doesn't like her teacher, so she's more tight-lipped. The girl gave I her number and wants her to buy eggs on different days so we don't see each other. The girl's name is I's back in the Dreamland when she figures out if she doesn't break the egg, she won't get attacked, but that plan fails. The Hatch girl this time seems to not know what is going on, unlike the previous one. The Hatch girl and I have qualities of other ones, like spirit and a good figure. To bring back Kito, I need to kill the Wonder Killer, who is the shape of the Hatch girl's trauma. In this case, it's the Hatch girl's coach. And then we cut to seeing Kito getting bullied, and I failed to give video of the bullying. I tries to stand up to the coach, but is having a hard time finding her. I gets her vision blocked, but the Hatch girl is having her dodge. I kills the coach, the Hatch girl disappears, and bitches all disappear after you kill the Wonder Killer. They just go poof. The Aka's wonder if New wanted to die because she bought all these eggs, and she ended up getting hospitalized. And I buys another egg, and this episode ends with I and New becoming friends. This episode gets a good second episode. It gets more of world building about how the whole dream world works. You have to kill, basically, ultimately, with two exceptions. One exception. There's two exceptions. One exception is kind of a person that's tight to the girls, because all the Hatch girls commit suicide, and all the trauma is basically tied to why they committed suicide, and that's what the Wonder Killer takes shape of, with one exception, which I get to when I get to. Good world building and stuff like that. So, moving on to episode 3. We see a different girl kill Wonder Killer. I have 2 eggs and Kwame requests for new girl, her, but she got over it. Her name is Rika. Rika wants I to pay for her second egg since she forgot her wallet. And she goes oh, well, my dad says that pretty girls don't have to pay for anything. I test New about Rika. New really doesn't trust Rika, thinks she's trouble. Rika thought I home and is going with her to see New in the hospital. New gets an egg from I and again seems to not like Rika. Rika's just finding I home. I just want to go to school after Kito died. Rika is trying to save a fan because Rika used to be an item that used to unload all the money. Trash talks to Santa, but Rika is sexting over the night at I's house. Rika thinks that her mom and basically everyone's slimy. Teacher of this is I comfort Kyoto about something in the past, and then freak I out a bit. I visit Rika's dreamland because they synchronize, because they fall asleep next to each other. But two have to protect two girls who are our friends and kill himself when the Isle killed herself. Because I and Rika are fighting each other as much as we're fighting for Sino Eels. And we take cover in a lighthouse. Rika's fan was shoplifting to get Rika's money. And Rika didn't want that, so she told her to stop in a very rude way, which ended up being the reason why the fan committed suicide. And I didn't like that Kyo didn't talk to her before her unfortunate end. The girls are fighting a squid monster and Rika gets turned to stone. This episode's okay. I kind of don't like Rika. I'll be honest. She's the soon-away type. You know, she hides her weird feelings behind a wall. But, like, when it comes to something like this, when it's just, like, her fan got way too invested in her, yes, and what she was willing to do to able to support Rika, and Rika didn't want her fan to ruin her life. Understandable. But she kind of like poured a gasoline over the fire by like being rude to her, when obviously she knew her fan was overly obsessed with her and clutching that reality hard. Like really hard. Like it's not like just kind of like a wake up slap. It was more like just being a dick. Cause, you know, it's like, hey, you know, you shouldn't be doing this at all. Like, I don't want you to support me. And she goes like, well, I don't want to see you again. You think I'd be friends with a fatty like you. There's a difference between the two. Rika does have regret over the situation, but still, it's kind of. But episode 4, we start with two girls named Moa and Momo. Moa got molested in the past and talked about how she screamed for help and someone helped her. Her dad got fired over it because the molester was a higher up in her company. That's just terrible. Like, awful. And her mom told her that she should have put up with it, which is also another level of fucking terribleness. Again, I like to say, I did not know anything about this going in, and it's just like, I was just like watching this, just like thinking to myself, like, what did I get myself into? Like, I was not expecting like anything at all. So like, I'm just like, god dang. One was making I feel a bit bad, and then we cut to I and two like hash girls running away from the squid monster. The two hash girls give I the penlights to fight with. And then we cut to Momo finding a wonder kill in her own dreamland and is protecting Moa. Then we cut back to I to learn that the power of music is working on the Squid Monster. Well, Moa gets herself up to protect Momo. Both Momo and I kill the Wonder Killers. Oh, so we thought Ice is still alive. Rika's back because but I call bullshit. Sure, they can heal themselves because they can't die, but like being turned to stone is different than like, oh, a cut. Stone is paralyzation, which is like, I'm like, oh, what's a cool workaround being able to like, oh, well, you can't really hurt me. But no, it's just like, oh, well, you can't hurt me, so boom. It's just like, that's kind of lame. Because that'd be a cool situation, like, turnaround. Or like, a nice little, like, oh, we established these rules of you can't harm the people that come from the real world. But like, oh, there's ways for them to be stopped other than the eyes and the heart. So it's just like, cool, but like, I feel like the Cove did something besides, oh, I got bow. Maybe was a bit nitpicking, but like, that's what I think. They killed the squid monster for real this time, and then we cut to Nuru getting discharged, and then like the dream world is kind of like training for the real world because like you get thrown and like stuff like that, because the dream world is apparently hard on your body, so you like get more like physical fitness. And Neo takes Ai to her place of work, which she is the president of. Momo had more fall in love with her before she disappears. Because Momo is like, oh, you're a boy, and Momo's like, I'm ready to go, and Momo is like, I don't care. I'm still in love with you. Momo lost someone the stage that she loves her. Ruka means Neo, and then means Momo of like the egg get place. Ruka and Neo thinks Momo is a bow, and apparently the dreamlands to help people who regret killing themselves, if I understand what the Askas were saying correctly. And I cause Momo a girl when she was crying, by keep getting mistaken as a guy. So when I was like, oh, got her gender correct, she was very happy about that. Momo's real name is Moi, and this episode's good. I think Momo is a better character than Rika. I like how they show that I was able to see her for how she is. I thought that was a really nice moment of both Ai's character and Momo's character. And then again, Rika's just still... And I have no opinion of Nuru so far, so it's just kind of like... You're part of a group, you're there. Episode 5, Nuru is having a hatch go and kills the one to kill. Then we go to Nuru, Rika, and Momo going to Ai's house. Momo is Ai's teacher's niece. But some Spaceballs, family line, though.
I am your father's brother's nephew's cousin's former roommate.
Rika suggests that the teacher has something to do with Kyo's death in a dang kind of way. And the only reason why he checks on Ai is because he thinks that Ai has some kind of proof against him. Then we have flashback. The teacher used to draw Ai to make her feel better about her looks. And then the teacher was playing on contents with Ai being the piece of art that he was entering. And then we go back to the present. Wait, before we go back to the present, I saw Hiro and the teacher talking to each other. Then we're back to the present. We learn that Ai's dad left, and Rika's mom is toxic. We're back to Nuru's dream world. And the hatch girl talks about dying when you're beautiful and young because beauty fades. And it's like, okay, calm down, Lysandra. That's what I first thought was the world's Pokemon villain was Lysandra. Then we cut to the four girls blowing together. Momo mentions that her friend was falling when they saw her as a girl. And they came on to her and just stripped her clothes off and kind of forced her on Momo a bit. And then the girls play in an arcade together. Rika says love they start buying eggs. Even if it was her fault, her can't friend killed herself. Why should they risk their lives to save the ones that have the option to save? And Ai says she wants to know what happened to Kyoto. Rika says but you don't know if Kyoto wants to come back or not. And then we learn a little bit about Nuru a bit. She says she goes to the dreamland to stop her parents from a scar that her sister gave her via stabbing her with a knife. We cut to Nuru's dreamland again when the hatch girl was talking about beauty before was the one to kill her the whole time because she was basically trying to get Nuru to kill herself. And Nuru thinks this was a way for her sister to mess with him. This episode's fine. I don't think that... Well, we learn more about the characters, but I don't think the one killer have Nuru grow or anything like that. Didn't help character development. So it's just kind of okay, Moving on to episode 6. Vecino evils can evolve into hails. Once you stand too much in the dreamland, hails all may have envy and spy among the Vecinos towards the goals. They say, the title of the show, everyone, clap your hands, standing ovation, the say the title of the show. Ai's mom wants to talk to, wants I to talk to the teacher. I is watching out for some reason towards her friends. The girls get Pomomanders will hatch into an Amino friend. The Amino friends can eat the hairs. Eyes hatch go this time can see dead people. And say like no one believed her and it was just super like horrific. And like she was admitted to the hospital because everyone thought she was crazy. And then we get a bit of a flashback. I's mom and the teacher went on a date, which I can't not describe how weird that would be if you're like your teacher goes like, I want to date your mom. I'd be like, what the fuck? I'd be like, what the fuck? On so many levels. Look, I appreciate good tilth as much as the next one, and I'm all for real relationships and things that you're not supposed to like take too seriously and stuff like that, aka. But like, just like something trying to play seriously when it's like a real relationship, it just doesn't feel right because like you want us to take this seriously. I mean, it's weird. Again, there's a difference between adult content and something you're like, oh, there's story plot point and stuff like that. It's different. It just feels a bit weird. And then we get a flashback and a flashback, which I don't know how that's possible. But it's like, whatever, flashback and a flashback. Because to talk about how teacher might be using I's mom to get to I, but I says it isn't like that. She just doesn't like, but she doesn't know anything about it. Q. If this talk made more mad, I might like the teacher too. And using the hatch goes prayer beads, I can see the one to kill and kills it. I tells her teacher that she is coming back to school. This episode is also fine. Like looking past like the real relationship dynamic that is teacher and MILF. The Amino Haplos are a nice addition. I think they're cool. And I do like how I like how the Wonder Kill and the Hatch person helps I grow and realize she cannot run away from her problems. I think that's a nice touch. But other than that, this episode's just kind of fine. Episode 7. Rika's birthday's today. Rika's father left and her mother likes to drink a little too much. I realized that being herself up isn't going to change anything, that's why she decided to go to school again. Rika's trying to find her dad and says her mom doesn't even know who her father is. Rika freaked out after saying, well, you know, her mom hates her then being asked, why do you hate your mom? Rika and I bond over being mad at their mothers. Nero never met either one of her parents. Rika cuts herself. Rika's dealing with a hatchling but doesn't want her Wonder Killer to be killed because she was part of this code and suicide pact. Rika gives in to the code Leo, but Hotel helpers saves her and snaps her out of it. And Rika finds a way to live, and she's like, oh, so what, I'm weak, as long as I don't kill myself, it's fine, but it's in response to, like, her hatchlings, like, you cut yourself, which, I understand that people cut themselves for, like, release and, emotional release, but cutting oneself or harming oneself is not healthy at all. By saying, oh, well, at least I'm not committing suicide, it's fine. Which, it's just, like, both of not, like, stuff, I can't even put into words, like, how it just feels like that's a horribly layered message, because it's just like, again, it's just like, it's fine, I'm hurting myself, like, it just didn't feel right for me. It put a really bad taste in my mouth, because again, that's what it feels like it's saying, it's okay to cut yourself, which is not good. It's not, that's like 2 thumbs down for me, because it's just like, what the fuck, like what the, okay, so, whatever, just, which, it's just, again, not a good message. I think there's better ways of showing it's okay to go through stuff mentally. and then going for self-harm route and saying that's okay. Like, if it was like, oh, well, I'm going through depression, and, I'm trying to deal with it, but it's okay that I'm going through depression. That'd be cool, but be, like, a good message. But, like, again, the way they went about is tasteless, I would say. And Rika kills the Wonder Kill, and Rika says to her mom that she would leave her at some point, but not today. I do not like this episode. I'm kind of on Rika's mom's side a bit. Like, okay, so, like, this, like, several hints without being spoken about. Rika's mom really does care about her dog. She bought her a cake for her birthday and wanted to, like, her to eat it fresh. Like, she cares about her dog. And it seems like, to me, being left and not knowing who the father may, which actually is kind of him, but Rika's mom might know who the father may be in the beginning, her reaction to Rika. But let's go with what she said and take it at face value. She doesn't know who the father is. I think, like, she's having a hard time dealing with that. Now, granted, being drunk all the time or drinking all the time is not good. It's not helpful to, like, your daughter or raising her, but, like, I see effort on the mom part to help doing her best, even though there's room on her part to improve, to help Rika raise Rika. And it's kind of heartbreaking, but Rika doesn't see it. It just hurts a bit. Again, the I think tasteless kind of message of this episode. Thumbs down for me. Episode 8. It's a recap episode. And for a recap episode to be in a 12 episode anime plus a 38-minute special is a waste of fucking time. You don't have that much time. It's not like Yu-Gi-Oh! Reigns had production issues, and it had so many recaps, but, like, it had, like, 120 episodes to play around with and try to get things done with. This show also had production issues, if you couldn't tell by recap. But you don't have that much time to play around, try and build things, and make things grow. Your time is more precious than a Yu-Gi-Oh! Like, say what, again, like, Yu-Gi-Oh! Like, Battle City had 2 recaps, one in the middle of Battle City arc, and one at the end of Battle City Finals. And I thought, like, what's the point of recapping Battle City twice? And, again, Yu-Gi-Oh! Has much more time to play with, and especially since the original Do Monsters anime was going off of the Do Monsters manga, they had to fill up the time and stuff like that. Again, Wonder Egg's priority's time is much more precious because there's a lot less of it. And to be like, well, we need to do a recap episode, it's not good, because that is an episode of time. You're down to 11 episodes and a 48 special, basically. And we would get to why that, is really harms this show in the long run here in a second, but, like, it's trouble. Like, I know the current probably help it, but, like, that is not good. I typically just don't like recap episodes. Recap episodes do bug me, but because it does seem like, oh, we're buying time, which I guess sometimes you do have to do, but, like, when it's, like, a lot, or in a case with Wonder Egg priority, SmackDown and something where you should be building up to something, it hurts it. It really does hurt it, especially with what the later episodes tried to do with the story. They really need this 23 minutes, or 21 minutes, or 20 minutes, like, ending and opening stuff. So, anyways, moving on. Episode 9. The fan group thinks Nura is feeling unwell for inviting them to her house because I have killed them. Nura has the technology to recall her dreams, aka the Dreamland. Nura is part of a group of people that have high HQs. And she was like a test tube baby. Basically, like, combining 2 DNAs together to make her. That's why she doesn't know who her parents are. The girls are painting nails together. It's a really fun, cute bonding moment. Now it shows the girls Kobaki and Abina go as in a pod because after doing a few near-death experiences, she put herself in a vegetated state. You meet Kunabu in Dreamland. Kunabu talks about parallel worlds, which would be upon later. We touch on that later. It's kind of a four line here. Kunabu seems fine, but she had died because if you hatch out of an egg, that means you committed suicide. So that means you're dead, basically. And Nuna seems more upset about it. Kunabu says that innocent soul is a key to the temptation of death. The Wonder Killer this time kills himself after being on smart math. Another promised to disconnect Kabuki's life support because she doesn't want dogs to touch and probe her body. And we find out about news secretaries working with Askas. And the Askas also say that the other root cause of the girls committed suicide. And I knew it shut down Kubo's life support together, so it's we don't know which one actually did to help do it. I think this episode is good. I think it's good to have show more emotions and stuff like that, changing a bit. So it's a nice, good character development episode for her, and we see more of a plot rearing its head. Episode 10. Momo's dreams of a day she's about to go on. So then we cut to ask us the founders of Japan Planet, which is the high HQ group I know is a part of. Ask us give up their bodies and put their brains into dummies. The friend group had questions for Vasquez, but because Gotalk have the priority so they could find out about Momo's date. Her date thought about Momo was a bow, so when she shows up in a dress, he didn't react well to it. Ai's teacher, then we cut to Ai's teacher Quang and invite her to his art expo. Momo's hatch girl identifies a bow. So the Wonder Killer this time was the hatchling's teacher that raped him and got him pregnant, which led to him killing himself and his baby. And then we cut to Ai's teacher wanting her to see the prize-winning artwork. And then we cut back to Momo killing the Wonder Killer. Momo's abilities when the hatchling kissed her as he sees her for who she is. Momo didn't tell her friends that she cleared the game and saved her friend. We cut to Ai's teacher telling her that she should have faith in herself, and I asked him why Kyo died. Vasquez wanted to confront someone named Findles with words of errors, and we cut to a butterfly flower thing kill Mo's crocodile and force her to eat it. Apparently, Geo tastes like chicken, but that traumatized Momo badly and she becomes afraid of death. I do not like it. Okay, so, and the reason why I don't like this episode is nothing to do with gender identity or anything like that. I think the talks of gender identity is important. The reason why I don't like this episode goes back to the whole time management thing. Well, we kind of touched on Momo's gender identity before and how she was born a girl. People see her as more masculine, so they assume that she is a guy when she's really a girl. And that deeply upsets her. We have touched upon that, and I think that she has found friends that see her for who she is very nice. But with the whole episode focusing on that, when again, especially when we get to next episode, which is huge plot dump. Episode 11 is huge plot dump. And this is kind of what we're focusing on, kind of retread ground a bit. It holds the story overall. In a bubble, this episode's fine. It's perfect. Really no complaints. It is in the context of how the story is built and managed. Again, in a bubble, this episode's fine. I have no complaints. I thought this episode was really well done, but it's becoming. I can't look at this episode in a bubble. I can look at at a greater context. Because we are reaching that 12th episode. And again, I'm looking ahead to the 11th episode, 12th episode, and the special. And I give it whether I have to induce the butterfly flower thing named Hyphen. But like, it's just poor time management. If this was done earlier, like, let's say episode 7, if this was episode 8, and like take off a recap and have, like, I don't know what we could do, but like if recap wasn't here and it later on feels like they didn't use the time wisely, again, I'd be perfectly fine with this episode. It's just I know I'm stuck on like time management, but like while Spider-Man Unlimited was trying to like watch through stuff to get the ideas and build to a greater story, I feel like Wonder Egg Poetry has the opposite problem, where it takes its time too much, and it's like kind of when we get to sleep, it left me speechless how it ended, because it was just taking its time too much. It was dragging on too much, and it does like propose all these stuff without any payoff. So again, we get more into that. So it's like when I'm like time management is very important, especially in this later half, and it feels like we try and ground a bit. It does hope. So again, I like to reiterate that this episode is fine in a bubble. It's perfectly fine. You just gotta pop that bubble, and it's just like, not the best use of the time, because episode 11, Rika also cleared the Dream World game and saved her friend. Rika's turret has been slayed. Rika cannot fight against the new foe of Dot, and she also forced Rika to eat her pet. I knocks on for Asuka's door, and we learns about Fendels. We learn about Asuka's main AI named dot named Frill, which AI kind of came out of nowhere. I mean, if you want to have AI with the fact that character's name is I, which is AI, sure, but like I isn't an AI. So I was like trying to figure out where the hell did AIs come from. This is turning more into science fiction. Well, I guess nowadays more reality than like this fantasy kind of world of abilities. Like, I know there's some technology involved, but like this just kind of like you jumped the shark a bit for me here. But for Asuka's mad woman by the name of Azula and Asuka became an item. Food seems to not like that Asuka got married because she liked to be the center of attention. Film the warriors that killed the Croc and return. As we see, Asuka got pregnant. Phil killed the pregnant Asuka with a blow dry in the tub. Asuka puts Phil like in like the scary place, which is like a door in the shed or something. As Azula's daughter Himura was born. Himura says that she grew up and marry Asuka, but he like tones her down because it was like, oh well, you and Asuka and Asuka were fighting over my mom, so like I can be like my mom for you if you want. He's like, nah. And Himura pop her lips like Phil used to do, and Himura seemed to have killed herself. Asuka confronts Phil about killing Himura, even mentions Siphon and Dog. And I think it was implied that he boned her, but she was connected to computers and stuff. I don't know. But to Asuka's study goes suicide, and it's implied that Frill is somehow part of it. And Asuka don't want I to repeat the same mistakes they did. And like they go like, well, we don't want like people who are full of rage like Rika is by her toe dying, and full of despair and like put walls up like Momo was after her crocodile was slayed. It's like we don't want Vix now go up against Phil. So this episode gave us a backstory basically to Phil. This is 11 episodes in, and he's like basically a villain, the main villain. Man, this is like some Naruto shit right here. It was like the Great Ninja World. where it's like, oh, you think pain, like Naruto later have, it's like, oh, you think Pain is the main villain? Nah, it's Mara Uchiha, who's really Obito. Then it's like, nah, it's really Mara Uchiha, the real one. Then nah, it's Black Zetsu. Oh no, it's Kaguya. It's just like, it's like, where is this villain coming from? You try and introduce this villain. 11 episodes in. Again, this goes back to time management. That's why I think, like, episode 10, kind of returning old ground a bit, was a mistake. Now that, again, the topic of gender identity is an opponent. It is. But you introduce a villain 11 episodes in when you have a recap, which I know, due to trouble production, probably couldn't be held. And an episode that I felt like we tried old ground. You easily could have used that time to explore the character of Frill and all the stuff you're introducing in this episode. But we're moving on to episode 12. Momo and Rika talk about the losses of the Emerald Helpers. And this caused a bit of a fight, because Momo's like, I don't want anything to do with this anymore. And Rika's just like, I want revenge. I doesn't want to release her Emerald Helper of Dream World, but ask her first out. I hashed herself, but Hatch eyes from a parallel world which I killed herself. But Egg I didn't have killed. But Egg I drowned herself and improved as how she committed suicide. But Egg I wonders what I was like having friends. Wonder killers to teach him. I claim that there's not any real teachers and a monster that, like, it's just all in her head. And my thing is, so you're defending a parallel world version of yourself, and this is her, like, trauma. And, like, again, every Wonder killer up to this point has done horrible things to each of the Hatch girls, which caused many of them to commit suicide. So to have this one to be like, oh, it's all in my head, it's weird choice. It's a weird choice to have our eye get over her problems, some of her problems, whereas really should be focusing on Hatch Eye. If it was focused on the Hatch Eye's problem, and then that helped I realize something, but it'd be different. But I felt like Hatch Eye just got kicked to the cove because we had to focus on Eye, which I'm not saying the lesson alone isn't, like, wrong, but, like, it's all about how you go about it. And it just said, like, well, we want her to learn this lesson, but we don't know how she was gonna learn this lesson. So, parallel worlds, here's a parallel world Eye, but parallel Eye learns, we're not gonna really focus on her. She's an afterthought. It's all about Eye, and that's how it feels like. It's just like, that's the best way you could have thought of, like, handling this message. But I guess whatever. Both Eyes are fine after the egg one says she regrets killing herself, realizing that, like, she hurt her mom. Eye says that her mom did worry about her, so, like, she supposed told her mom that she supposed that she dates her teacher. I killed her Wonder Kill. I feel killed. And I says she might not, like, want to know the truth of Kyo's death because she's grateful for her in the past. I says she wants to find out Fiona, Kyo, and now one of his fellow girls show up, attacks, and like ask us to talk about Rika, but like, oh, how Rika can't come back because she's full of hatred, and talk about how, like, Will's mentioned and Himari's mentioned, but, like, who cares what we're saying about those two, because it's not a point. I mean, it's like, oh, character or whatever, but, like, it doesn't matter because character building for Asuka don't equate to anything. And then the AI lost to Eye protecting our Eye. I'm not a fan of this episode. Again, I don't like how the rant about Eye getting over, like, her teacher, because it felt like, again, it pushes way the AI. The AI was just used as an excuse, and it just felt like, what's the point of a guy? Like, you know what I mean? It could have been anyone. But it didn't take advantage of the fact that it was herself. Just the fact that it could use, oh look, it's the teacher! That's for Wanda kill. You know what I mean? It could have been anyone to help her realize this is, this is all in my head. Or something like that. But like again, that'd be also kind of tasteless because all of these Wanda killers up to this point have led like their hatchlings to their death. So it's kind of like what is, how will you probably handle that in the dream world without it coming out of tasteless or like annoying the hatchling in this case. It's just like it doesn't feel like this was as well done as it could have been. So, special episode, 48 minutes. Moving on to that. Guess what I have to spend more than half of the time with? A fucking recap. And it's just like, this is 48 minutes. And again, this goes back to episode 8's problem. You had 48 minutes to do something, to explain stuff, to like tackle Phil, who you introduced kind of as the villain as maybe applied to be the root cause of girls killing themselves. Which I don't like that there's actual villain in this show. Not that they really do anything with her, as we soon will discuss, but like it just also feels tasteless. So like the fact that like half of this, more than half of the special fucking recap is us like, really? Really? We're doing this shit. And then we get to like new stuff. Finally new stuff. New is debating about how she should act more like an adult or like a kid. New gets the whatever Kabuki had before she died for a bit for like no reason given. According to the teacher, said that Uncle got a teacher killed at her own school because having the teacher commit suicide, and that she was shouting on top of the rooftop that day that like I and her teacher raped her, and then she slipped and fell off of the roof, killing herself. And I have no problem of like a character idolizing a character and find out, oh, they're not as good as I thought they were. Like, look at the Batman Telltale game or the Batman for 2022 movie starring Robert Pattinson. I think both did a good job of that, exploring that idea. But the problem with Wonder Egg Priority, it does nothing with that idea. It does nothing with it. So what's the fucking point? What's the fucking point of getting a reason besides the obligation of feeling, oh, we have to give a reason? That's how I feel. So it's like, oh, we had to give a reason why because we were building up to this. Here you go. It's like, okay, cool, what are you gonna do with it? Absolutely nothing. And it's just like, what's the point? I mean, like, I know it's like trying to tie up things, but like, what's the point? Man, you just... Like, I have no problem, again, I have no problem with, like, okay, this person's not as good as I thought she was. No problem with that. But it's not an issue. It's how they go about it. Don't do anything with it. And then it goes to, Kira has no memories of I. New says she has no idea who I is, even. I doesn't have any pictures of Kira on her phone anymore. So it seems like the people who came back to life have no memory of anything. And it's changed so they forget, like, the people saved them, and like, they never die in the first place. And I have no problem with this. But it seems like the way you don't do anything with this. I mean, they do something with Rika when Rika feels Rika feels overwhelmed with her like pet Toad dying, and that her fan doesn't remember who she is, and all she wants is those two things back. She becomes overwhelmed with sadness for like a scene, but like for both Momo and Rika, it feels like, oh, we cut character arcs short. Moving on. And again, that's what frustrates me with like waste time. It's like, okay, you have Momo who said she was sick of everything, but like she's still hanging out with her friends that she said she wouldn't know like a part of anymore. Or like a part of like situation at the end. And like Rika, wants revenge and stuff like that, but she kind of gave up on that. And it's just like moving on along, and it's just like, what's the point of all this? What's the point of introducing all this shit? You're not doing anything with it. It's frustrating. It's frustrating, and the stuff you do introduce, like, I feel like holds the message, especially when it comes to the topic of suicide, a lot. I think this has been poorly handled so far. And, like, the message of, like, people coming, like, growing apart, it happens. Like, I think Digimon The Last Evolution did the message perfectly. And that's what I love about the movie to bits. But with this, feel like it doesn't do anything with it. It's just a throwaway line with Ruka, and I feel like that could have been used for a character arc. But then again, by the time we get to it, they only have like 5 minutes left in the special, so they can't focus on it. Can you tell I'm a bit frustrated with this? But real news missing. I found this out after getting a phone call from his secretary. New's younger sister took her place. Kurabuki is alive, but this one's from a different parallel world, which she's just there. It doesn't matter who cares. Like, it's like, oh, I'm from a parallel world. It's like, okay, cool, you're there, I guess. Cool. Again, what's the point? She cannot be there and be nothing changed. What's the point of you here? And then we see that Frill came to New and said she can become human because New is an AI built by Nabuki based off of her sister, which was her sister, a younger sister, when she came first, whatever. But Nabu being an AI, like, okay, so Frill only has like one other scene. We don't even see Frill, but it was like off camera. But we hear her voice. And it's like, that's what we do with Frill? After that whole backstory? All for Nabu to be a real person, which we didn't know was an AI until, again, like 5 minutes left in the special. And it's like, why are you doing this? Why? Her being an AI doesn't matter, like, because you don't do anything specifically with the fact that she is an AI. It's just a last minute line thing. And it's just, again, it cuts to Rika being mad that Namu was an AI. But time again, the fact that she misses her toe in a fan a lot. And she's coping with the losses, which again, grief and like drifting apart from people is a great message, but don't focus on it. Besides with I a bit. But like, and then again, I feel like I doesn't, it's not that she doesn't grieve her friend's death, but it just kind of feels like she kind of got over it, you know? I have to like, so I is probably one with best character arc in this show, but like, it feels like if we kind of skip around with a character arc to just jump to, oh well, here we go. I would rather throw her phone off of the back than even answer News phone call, and she was upset about her choice. Some time passed. I transferred schools, grew a problem on Rika. I went to Asuka's, and she buys an egg to search for New. I hate this so much. Like, there's so many whys. Like, I feel like, why do so much stuff in the last couple of episodes, but don't do anything with it, or do anything in an interesting way. And, like, it's just baffling, these choices to me. It feels sloppy, and it feels like, again, kind of being tasteless when dealing with suicide in a lot of these cases, because you're not handling with the care that it needs to have. And, like, again, have this special as a fucking recap. You wasted, I think, it was like 25 minutes, or 24 minutes, I think it was 25, 26. It was like just barely over half of the special recapping shit. Actually, I think it was like 27. So it was like 21 episodes left to just fill in what you needed to fill in, which is not enough time. And you shot yourself in the foot. And this episode was like, left me speechless. Not because it was good, because it was, what the fuck were you doing with your time? And the biggest issue with this show is time management. And again, being tasteless with the topic of suicide, in my opinion. That being said, folks, the animation is great. It's stunning. It's very well done. So, Cloverworks animation is always, top notch, top tier. I feel like I have to say something positive a bit after digging into the show. But the opening is Sadachi no Iya by Enoma. The ending's also done by Enoma. It's called Life is Syndrome. The One-A Priority had a strong start. It had a lot of promise to be a really excellent anime, but it fumbles the ball in the second half. Nay, it takes it and threw it on the ground. It wastes time. It doesn't flesh out its ideas, don't expand upon, and don't give reason why things are the way they are. And it's just, what's the point of thrill? Tell me, because I can't find it. Tell me what's the point of you being an AI? I can't find it. What's the point of saying Riku and Momo up to deal with, the death of their pets, or being forgotten by, the friend and fan to do nothing with it? I don't know. And I feel like I but didn't do anything with it. Well, I found out maybe the truth from her teacher. What? Nothing's done with it. It's just what's the point? I mean, I give one, and again, for my may or may not have been cause of ghosts killing themselves, who knows? Again, it's just none of these ideas are explode, and it's frustrating. And Spider-Man Unlimited was frustrating, but this is on a whole different level of that. So, I give One-A Priority 2 out of 10. So, if you like this review, give it a thumbs up. If you dislike this review, give it a thumbs down. And hit that subscribe button if you want more for us reviews. And I will see you all next time. Bye.